Welcome to another sick podcast. This is your boy Clyde coming off of a wild weekend. Can't wait to talk about that. We had some excitement on our annual road trip to this year, Nashville. Can't wait to tell you about it. But before we get into all that, Sammy, go ahead and start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. And Bill Show.
Intercepted! Marlon Jackson! Marlon's got it! We're going to the Super Bowl! We're going to the Super Bowl! Marlon Jackson with the interception! He picked off Tom Brady!
The sickest Indianapolis Colts podcast. It's gonna be sick.
It is absolutely going to be sick. Sammy, let's see if I can get my readout to support the cause. There it is. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use DraftKings code 6sports to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL bet. Again, that's DraftKings, our sponsor. A word to them. Thank you. Go ahead and bring in my counterpart.
Before that kind of
What's up, Bubba?
There he is. I have no idea what he's listening to, but let's go ahead and officially start this thing. Here we go. Okay, the official start to the show. Please like, follow, subscribe, all the things on the X, YouTube, Instagram, of course, Facebook. The numbers are growing. We had another amazing weekend. When it comes to getting the word out there, getting the message out there, this was the inaugural Anvil road trip together. All of us at some point in time have went on roadies by ourselves. You know, I've been to some games. Pat's been to some games. Acosta's been to some games. Me and Thomas went to some games. But this is the first time that three or more of us went on a road to the game. And Nashville, though they are the hated rival, was a hell of a time. So shout out to the entire crew, to include our supporters like no other. Darrell, Daniel, who am I missing? Becca.
Big E.
Big E, Justin. Who else am I missing?
Home gating,
Brandon Brisket put on again. The venison queso was incredible. The wangs was wanging. The white
make a fat boy happy.
Super great. And last but not, who else am I missing? Oh, Daniel's fiance.
Yeah, and Tyler and his buddy.
Oh, Tyler too. Yeah. It was great. Now hold on. Now we got to get Daniel's fiance's name together.
Liz.
Sheesh. What is wrong with me? Sorry, excuse me. My door is opening, so that was the chime that you hear. But I think it's only fair. I really do. Sammy, this is for you. Okay, give me 1 sec, Sammy. Pat, what was that?
That was the sweet, sweet sound of a sweet.
Omaha!
That's what it was. Sammy, that is so for you. You know what? It feels good because we used to dominate, and I mean dominate the Titans. And for the last 3 years now, the Titans have been a thorn in our rear ends. And so to get back to what is normal, it's such a great thing to get back to what's normal. Now that we got to take care of those other couple teams in the division. Now we did catch that same hail from the Jags. I know, right? But at least we could claim our own sweep of a team of this division. And we have the opportunity to actually do it to a second team at the end of the year. But we're not going to count our chickens before they hatch. But before we get into the game, let's talk about the Nashville experience. Pat, what was your favorite part of the Nashville experience?
Man, I know it's going to sound like I'm a big old goober, and it's probably because I am. But my favorite experience was 3/5 of the Anvil crew was there, and a shitload of Anvil family was down there. We all got together. We all ate. We all went, watched the Michigan game. Barely beat Iowa. The refs really helped them out on that one. Oh, that's right. You are a Michigan fan. I forgot. Sorry. So just being able to get out, for a couple days, you know, hang out with good people. You're safe. You're in good company. You're with family. That to me was the funnest part.
That was, and I would say the amount of laughs and good times that happened in a very short amount of time. We only were
My,
together for about,
sorry, Moon Pie just walked in.
oh, tell her don't get an Omaha because she is not
You ain't
above
gonna
approach.
you ain't gonna moon
If she come
give
in here
Moon Pie
making
no more.
noise and trying to take over the mic and all the little moon pie things, guess what Uncle Clyde got for her?
You just mad she took your chair.
No, that's fine. It's okay. I'm not there enough to claim it. It's fine. But anyway, like I said, like I was saying, like being there, we're only together for a short amount of time, probably total like 18 hours. But we got every ounce of fun, energy, love out of those 18 hours. What a blast. Let me tell you, man, like sometimes you think that you can totally be blown away with what's going on in your world, and then other times you're really blown away. Like we were a small group, but from Barstool, Nashville, freaking Hattie B's Chicken, wherever we went, they knew we were there. The Anvil is a traveling thing. Like it's real, man. Like the Anvil is real. Like we have supporters. We're walking like, and we're not like I told you. This happened to me when I was in Germany. I literally lost my mind because I was in Germany. But we're walking through, the tunnels and all that stuff before the game, going into the Nissan Stadium, and people like, hey, that's Big P. I know you, boss, and this and that, and I follow your show and all. It's insane.
It
Like
is insane. I'm
it's a
not gonna
crazy
lie.
feeling. It's a crazy feeling.
My head swelled just a little bit
Yeah,
after that Nashville trip.
yeah,
And everybody knows me. I'm extremely humble person, and I don't take any credit for nothing. But just driving by the stadium, seeing other Colts fans, and we're sticking our heads out the window, going, "Go Colts! Hey, it's the Anvil crew!" That is friggin' amazing, absolutely
facts.
amazing, and it's appreciated
It is.
deeply from this
It
side
is.
over here.
Absolutely. So we had more subs, more follows. That's great. And we also had a bit of a welcome surprise. So knowing this guy over here, bro, I mean, he is the networker of networkers. Like, I don't know if there's not a person he's ever been, I won't use the word afraid, but there's no one he's never approached and said, you know what, I can have a conversation here. And if anything comes of it, so be it. And if it doesn't, all it was a conversation. So because of that, this guy has friends in high places and many places and spaces. And so here we are at our tailgate, getting it set up. Everything's good. Brandon Brisket's over there on the Traeger, getting it going. We set up the anvil. We're pitching some cornhole and all the things. And Pat comes over to me and Costa's like, hey, check this out. So we check it out. And it's like, hey, there's an envelope. It will call for you guys. Maybe you should go check that out. We mosey over to Will Call to go check out that. And lo and behold, guess who's got pregame field passes? The freaking Anvil. So we march on down to the field like we've been there before and we belong. Guess what happens? Z comes up because Z remembers us. He's getting his pregame ritual and all the other thing, daps everybody up. I was able to take a pic with AR-15, let them know what we thought of him. Can't wait to have him back on the field. Snap a pic with
AR-5.
him. 5, true that. My bad. AR-5. Uh, snapped a pic. Matt Gay. Talked to Chris Ballard. All the things like we belong. And then at one second or another, I was like, not that this is the norm, but why shouldn't it be the norm? Like, this is where we are. This is what we have worked so hard to do. This is what, you guys have pushed us to become. And we are this because of you. And we're constantly growing and we appreciate everything that you're doing for us weekly. Just keep it going because as we go, so do you.
Yep.
And the things that we're cooking up to potentially do in the future is amazing. And I'm not going to spill the beans and tell all the things, but this is only year two of the anvil, right? And trust me when I tell you, we have a long projected road ahead for everything that we want to accomplish. So we appreciate you. So being on the field was amazing to start the game, right? And so we might as well get into the game. So Pat, being there live, being there on the road, how was the environment? Hostile, would you say?
Um, a few of the Tennessee Titan fans were hostile, but I think I'm going to agree with Miss Sarah on this, where it was the stadium workers that was more
Uh,
hostile towards us than the fans.
yeah,
Now nobody said anything to me directly, but some guys sitting a row or two behind me, oh fuck the Colts, Colts suck,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
basic stuff.
Yeah, the basic fan stuff. Nothing to rattle my cage by no means, but yeah, the treatment we was getting from the Tennessee stadium staff was pretty bad.
Implying that we were stupid, implying that, that type of thing. But like I was saying, like, I'm here for it. It's a part of the experience. It's
It is.
rivalries, right? So if you're a rival, how are you supposed to treat the rival? Like, you don't give them the red carpet treatment, you give them a little hell. So with that said, I had to not remind everyone, but I was like, in my opinion, the functionality of how we're being treated really goes back to 2019, right here on Broadway, when Pat McAfee was introducing, I think, the second or third round player we were drafting, and he totally disrespected them. Talked about the dominance that the Colts had displayed over the years, talked about his role as a punter, and they didn't really make him active, so he got to rest a lot during those games. Like, I think it started there. And because they were hosting the draft and all those things, and he couldn't wait to take his opportunity to let them know that they will forever hold that dearly and they will always treat us in that way. But yeah, it was pretty
Yeah. So
interesting to see
thanks
that.
a lot, Pat McAfee.
Yeah, but it was pretty interesting to hear them say, like, basically call us. They were calling us stupid without calling, like, because there was, like, every stadium does the game where the helmet is moving around and, like, find what's underneath the helmet, and then I can't remember how he said it, but the stadium announcer was like, yeah, so at some point as a Colts fan or at some point as somebody that's from Indiana or whatever, you'll probably lose focus here because basically you're not dumb enough to follow, or you're not smart enough to follow it. It was kind of weird. It was a weird jab, but they were saying that all throughout the game. So I laughed that type of stuff off. But being in my section, I couldn't speak for P because he was a couple rows over, and Daniel was a couple rows over as well. But in my section, it ended up being Big P. I'm sorry, Big E, Justin, Sarah, myself, Acosta, Tyler, and his buddy. And that small nucleus was shutting the shit down. Like, because every time we got a first down, we were acting like we were home in Indy. That's another Indianapolis Colts first down. Like, we were going bananas. And they were shouting out the anvil stuff here and there, bang that bitch, let's go Colts. Like, people were like seriously irritated and they wanted to shut us up. So every time they did something positive, they would like definitely look at us and go
Get
nuts.
louder.
Yeah. Cause like I remember we scored a touchdown and then right away Gardner threw the pick two and they were like, like they were going nuts. The pick two. That don't even sound right, right?
Uh, that whole play wasn't right.
The pick two. But yeah, so that kind of was going on. But like we always say this, and I don't even know honestly how to be a fan without being that type of fan, but the cardiac part of being a Colts fan. Like that game, though it turned out to be 31-28 or whatever the final was, really should have been 34-17. I mean, two block punts, right, inside of their 10 that only equated to 6 points. We fumbled inside of their 10, so no points. We actually lost the lead for a minute, There were multiple ties. Like, it was a lot that was going on that didn't make sense.
It was definitely the roller coaster game of
And
the season so far. I mean, and
yeah,
typically all our games are roller coastery, but this one here has took the cake.
but this one, honestly, this one was very similar to Baltimore. Baltimore game, it ended up going to OT too. So it's funny we've had two road games that been to OT, and I've been to both. But it's funny how that like there was multiple times, especially when we lost the coin toss. I was like, shit, here we go. Like, that's game. Because though we had scored, and they came back and tied it up, then they missed the extra point to keep it tied. And I was just like, we didn't have a lot of energy, right? They get the ball first. Weird possession because they're moving the ball, then they lose some yards on some penalties, then we give it right back on a penalty, then it's they make a big play to get into field goal range, they kick a field goal. I'm like, fuck, well, hopefully our offense can come out and do something because we had been flat for a couple possessions. Second play of the drive. Who are you? Who are you kidding? What was it, a 56-yard pass or whatever, almost 60-yard pass to Alec Pierce of all people, over the shoulder, perfect pass from Gardner down to the two. 2 plays later, nice little quick slant to Michael Pittman, game over. Are you kidding me? Like, what just happened, bro? Like, what just happened? So, because I couldn't see you, how was you and your nephew feeling at that moment?
Well, my nephew was in tears because
Tears, bro.
He's a Titans fan, and I was screaming up and down. Did you freeze on
Wow.
me?
No, I'm
Uh,
here.
you,
Listen,
it looked like you froze on me. But yeah, it it was exciting as hell, you know, and that was twice Minshew hit Pierce on was it some 40 something yard.
yeah, the first touchdown
And
was like a 40-yard TD,
yeah,
like in his hands.
and he was
Crazy.
in double coverage and he dropped it right in that
Yeah.
basket, man. Couldn't have asked any better.
No.
And the same thing on that overtime pass, right in the basket where nobody could get it but him.
I mean,
I
Pat.
mean, it was almost Peyton Manning like with those two throws.
I think that's what I said in our after game response. I was like, I don't even know who number 10 became,
Yeah,
but it was
me
Peyton
too.
Manning esque. And what's really wild about the whole situation, man, when you think about it, like Pat McAfee summed it up in one phrase. And I'm going to have to remember this going forward because there's going to be moments when I want to rip my hair out. Gardner Minshew, simply put, is a football player. Just wrap it up. And that's such a powerful phrase because it's like when you look at his numbers, he's been helter skelter this year. Started on such a high, we were like, oh yeah, we're in great shape. He's the best backup quarterback, perfect situation. Then he's had some head scratching moments. He had like 8 turnovers in about 2 minutes, seemingly over 3 games. It was crazy. Then he goes and does things like this. And you know what? You hate to live like this, but until we get AR5 back, this is how we gotta live.
Yeah.
We literally got to live in these wild like ranges. It's such a wild range from
Well,
the low to the high.
in this time that we are, you're going to have to ride the good with the
Yeah.
bad.
Yes.
Know the good's there, but also know the bad's there too. There's a reason he's paid backup money.
Yes.
There's a reason
We
his
talked about
role
that.
is a backup.
Absolutely. We talked about it.
Now
Fucking right.
you can hold a lot of confidence in him when the good is good, and you're
Hmm.
gonna be shitty when the bad is bad.
Hmm.
That's just what we have right now. Um, but all honesty, he's played 1,000 times better than Matt Ryan did all last year.
Are you kidding me?
He,
Absolutely.
he's playing 100 times better than Carson Wentz did.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Uh,
See, y'all,
man,
I mean, listen, I know
I'm
that.
telling you
See,
right now, those stats Carson
mm,
Wentz had, it was padded. Now
oh,
I don't give shit. Give me 5 of them, and I ain't taking it back.
padded,
Padded,
bro. That's so
padded.
that's so fucking unfair. Don't do that. How do you
Now,
pad, how do you
now
pad that?
I I agree.
That's for another podcast.
Now, back when they cut him, I agreed with you then that we should have gave him another year.
Absolutely.
I absolutely agree with that. But you know how many times I seen that man throw the ball at somebody's feet?
Okay. Well,
You know, he
all
might not have the interception rates that others do, this and that, but his play was just horrible for us.
right.
And you know it.
Oh,
And
I know it.
you do know it. And
Don't be put fucking words in my. Oh no, shit. I
I'm
know
I'm
it.
I'm putting words there because they're true words.
That's horse shit. It's not true.
It is true.
You know what? I'm gonna let you have it. You're on one. Look like you're gummified right now, or getting there. You can have
I'm
it. Because again, like that's for another podcast. We could do comparisons, but at that point, I just felt like Jim Irsay was so peed off that we had not the division, but we had our destiny in our own hands, and we dropped back-to-back games after being on such a high. After that Pats game that year, like we were like top of the mountain, right? Like, and then we drop the games to the Raiders, and then we go on the road to Jacksonville and really drop everything. And then he was like, I don't know what got to happen, but everybody's gone. So that's what that was for me, but that's neither here or there. Now, Gardner, he played his tail off. Fine. Let's give him that 312, a couple tutties. He had one. Didn't he have a turnover?
I think he had
Yes.
one.
Yeah, he had a turnover. Well, he had the pick too. Was that the turnover? The pick two? I think that was the turnover. Or
No,
did he have another one?
he got strip sacked.
He got strip sack too. Yeah, and he had the pick too. But okay, all right. So
The
okay,
pick
still
two. God, that Omaha yourself because that just sounds so
so weird. So
Hey,
so
Mom,
we
guess what? I got a pick
I
two
got a pick
today.
too. So we definitely got to like clean that up still. But we would be remiss, absolutely remiss, if we don't talk about Michael Pittman Jr. continually rising to that number one claim that nobody said he was. Another 11 catches, another 105 yards, another tutty, and the man Alec Pierce showing a glimpse. Now again, this one game does not compensate for the now 2 years of mediocrity, but showing a glimpse of maybe what the Colts saw when he came out of Cincinnati, the big play capability, the
Yeah,
stretch in the field, So we got to give them their kudos. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
absolutely.
You know, and we've said this from day one with Pitt is that eh, there ain't a meaner dog in the fight than what that
Facts,
man has, and we've
facts,
said this from day one.
big facts.
And he ain't slowing down,
Hey, not
not one damn bit.
facts,
So call him a wide receiver too if you want. I'll have him out there every time fighting for that ball
big
because
facts.
you know what? These guys are talented. These
Yeah.
cornerbacks are talented.
And he's getting what he wants. That's
Yeah,
what's really good to see. Like everybody used to call him the drag route king and the short route guy, but he's literally getting what he wants. And he's so smart. He's converting the first downs, on the third and whatever, or the second and whatever. He's getting himself in the right position. He's protecting the football. Knock on wood. He hasn't, had too many fumbles or too many drops this year. He's making the difficult catch almost every single opportunity he gets. If you can go back to Baltimore, he getting his freaking head ripped off, and he makes that catch in OT that ends up being, for the game-winning field goal. All the things. So yes, I mean, we pay our own. That's been Ballard's motto, without a doubt. Michael Pittman will get what's coming his way deservingly. And again, would be remiss if we don't talk about the defense, the effort part of the defense with another 6 sacks.
Hey, wait a minute. Before we leave Pitt, I got
Okay.
one question. Is it me, or does it seem like every time that man's tackled, his helmet is either twisted or off or something, or he's always having to readjust his helmet like he's got the
Well, that's
wrong
all the
side.
kids.
It's like he's got the wrong size helmet on or something.
That's all the kids these days, man. They wear their helmets loosely, I call it. They don't like their mouthpiece isn't secured. They do all kind of shit. So yes, he's always adjusting this shit. Like they easily slide off, all kind of shit. Like, whatever,
Somebody teach him how to tighten that damn chin strap up.
Facts. But yeah, let's talk about the defense really quick. So another 6 sacks. Okay. So let's not confused. Like that's gonna be my absolute situation and stand on business, as they say. That'll be my situational awareness of every time we talk about the defense. Do not, okay. Do not confuse effort with scheme, because when you talk about the defense as a collective, the scheme still's trash. I mean, we played probably the second worst team in the NFL. They got 28 points. They got 360 yards. So they got Derrick Henry got 100 yards. I don't think he's had a 100-yard game in quite some time, but he got 100 yards on us. And I get it. Grove's out. Okay, we could talk about all the things, but the scheme is still what the scheme is, and we still seeing terrible situations where it's like, oh, you're not going to defend the first down. You're just going to let them run to it. Okay. What's their? I can't say his name, but their tight end, Chig Onkarik, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't know. He had a massive play.
Conco something.
Him, yeah, he had just call him Chig. He had a huge play because he's just running free, and then he broke a couple tackles, and it's a much larger play than it should have been. But it's because the scheme stinks, right? But the other 6 sacks, Colts had 42, which puts them in the top 5. We're on pace to break our 2005 record of 45 easily. So yeah, they're getting after it. Tyquan, Sampson, Quiddy, Defoe, they're getting after it. And I'm never gonna like put them down when I'm putting down the defense. But the scheme stinks. The fucking scheme stinks. Okay. That's all I got on defense because it stinks. What do you got?
Well, on defense, did we mention the Walter Payton recipient for the Colts?
Oh, absolutely. Zaire Franklin.
Zaire Franklin. Let's give
Let's
a
clap
big old
him up.
round of applause for our boy Z.
Deserving. Very deserving.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he's been on with us several times. He recognizes us at stadiums, different events we go to, things of this nature.
Love the guy.
So we call him fam. We call him fam for a reason.
Got to talk to one of his good friends he played college ball with. It was great.
Yeah. And it's not, we don't call people fam just nilly willy.
Mm-hmm.
Your character has to be right.
Mm-hmm.
And his character and his heart that he cares about people, you ain't gonna find bigger than that.
That's true.
So congratulations again, Zaire. Well deserved, and way to take over the NFL, baby.
Absolutely.
Proud, very proud of you.
He's putting the NFL on notice in all facets. And that's something to definitely talk about. Shout out to Shane Steichen too, bro. Like what? Like ice in his veins. He's going to call his game no matter what. He's never going to waver. Like even when things were looking grim in that game and we started slow and we had dead spot moments, like of course we can't see what's going down on the sideline and we can't hear what's in the headsets, but the outcome is always showing that he's coaching his ass off. That's 4 wins in a row, like we talked about last week, right? The Panthers, the Patriots, the Bucks, and now the Titans. You play who's on your schedule, and we're winning the games we're supposed to be winning, right? So with that said, it's still a 4-game win streak, just like the Cowboys, just like the Niners, and I think there's one other team that had a 4-game win streak. So we're in that mix. And I know a lot of people is not giving us a lot of credit for what we can be or what's going to happen over these last 5 games or so, but ultimately that's neither here or there. Like, in my opinion, though we don't have, a 10-1 record or some shit like that, 9-2, he's coaching like a coach of the year, right? And people can say the same thing about D'Amico Ryans, and people will probably say the same thing about, what Kyle Shanahan is doing, and maybe hell, what, Nick Sirianni was doing, and everybody else. And the wins will always probably lead the way. But you got to think about what Shane has faced, bro. Start the year, no JT, may not even have JT. Rumor has it he wants to be gone. Shaq's not Shaq, end up cutting Shaq. AR goes out after week 5. Grover 6-game suspension. Shit, you name it.
Rogers suspended at the beginning of the
Yeah,
year.
Rodgers cut from the squad. Uh, Great rookie class, but devastating injuries to start. Evan Hall out. Juju Brents missed some time, then played, then missed more time. Like he's been just whatever hand is dealt him, he's just finding a way to make it work. And so I commend the guy, and I hope all that's considered, and I hope we keep progressing. So at the end of the year, that is a tough choice. Hopefully they do a better job than the CFP because the CFP sucks. Like what? You go undefeated and you don't make it in. Any fucking hang. That's neither
Yeah,
here nor there.
they need definitely change that
That's neither.
format. Now,
Yeah.
one thing I will say about the offense, and I remember it because I told my nephew this, that if we have to do more than three and out, because there was a couple
Yeah.
runs where
Facts.
it we was three and out, and I
Yeah.
told him, I said, man, this is going to wear the shit out of our defense. We
Yeah.
got to start moving the ball. And lo and behold, he changed shit up, started,
Yeah.
you
Facts.
know, chopping away at them yards.
We've seen a
Next thing I
little bit
know,
more.
our defense is catching their second win, and then boom.
Like literally, we've seen a little bit more each week of him opening up his playbook more and more. And like another thing that's super infectious, and I'm telling you, and I get it right now. Right now, we can't have this conversation because everybody wants to talk about, well, who's the best quarterback in the South? C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis after his one game wonder, and then of course AR at the bottom because injuries didn't really get to see a lot of him. But what's infectious is that kid's energy. I mean, he's walking around holding his arm in the cast and running on the field, celebrating, jumping into it. We're like, oh, Lord, chill out, AR. But you can tell when I tell you right now, there's probably nothing harder for him to do than to show up to these games and be in street clothes. Like you could tell this kid wants to be on the field, and
Absolutely.
he'll give his damn arm to be on the damn field. So next year, I get it. It's a long way to forecast and look into the future, but I know all the things that he's going to be able to play back and be like, man, this is what's got me hurt. This is the way I have to play. This is who I am as a player, but this is what got me hurt. Like that's going to be on his because he doesn't want to go through another year of this. He wants to be a part of those victories, and he knows he makes a difference. I know he knows it. And it was just cool to meet him, to talk to him. It was very brief, but even still, like, just to let him know, like, hey, look, bro, we all behind you and we need you. And he was like, I appreciate that. That means a lot. So that was dope. That was super dope. So I can't wait to see the kid back.
That, and even though he's injured, he's still traveling with the team.
Absolutely.
He's down on the field, going up to the stands, signing autographs.
Yep.
Doing all that.
Headset, watching, learning.
Yeah, doing all that public relation stuff before the game. During the game,
Yep.
you can see him with the headset on,
It's
talking.
dope. It's dope.
And that's all learning opportunities for him, and he's taken them.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on top of it. So
Yeah,
you got to commend him. You got to commend Shane. You got to commend, his rehab staff. He's still locked in. He still wants to be a part of this, even though he knows he's out for the season. That's only going to make him better. I get it. You need to be on the field and get the reps and actually feel the game, but to show that you're still a part of it and you're just happy to see your team doing well and you're supporting your backup quarterback as he supported you, like that's what you want, right? So I'm gonna
absolutely.
give credit where credit's due. So lastly, before we get out of here, because we're running slightly over, I mean, this is gonna sound wild, maybe a little bit passive aggressive to the Colts fan base and Colts Nation. So I apologize, but I will say last week maybe I kind of gaffed and I said the wrong thing. What I was getting at is I don't I don't want y'all to feel like I wasn't happy for Shaq to be able to find some place to land and be happy. I was just a scorned fan. So he found that place this week to land and be happy. And unfortunately, it's with fucking Nick, who I don't mess with no more. Sirianni's an asshole,
No,
but he's an Eagle now. And like I said to start the show with Pat, we were talking, we were talking backstage, and I was like, I need him to ball out, become an all-pro rather quickly, and make us regret our decision. And as Colts fans, we've lived through a lot of hard choices. We let Marshall Falk, we traded Marshall Falk, I should say. We didn't re-sign Edgerrin James. We released Peyton Manning. We had to suffer through the early Andrew Luck retirement. Like we've been through some tough times, bro. We lost the Super Bowl that, in my opinion, we should have won. We couldn't get over the New England Patriots hump too many times, too many years of great seasons, and they don't end with us hoisting the Lombardi. We've been through some tough shit, but through all of that, we love our squad. So to see somebody like Darius leave was very difficult, and the way he left mid-season was even more incredibly difficult. And so, like we all thought, he landed somewhere, and hopefully it's not one of those moves where he's a forgotten about name. Hopefully he gets down there and he gets an opportunity to actually play, learn that defense, and become a great player that we know him to be. And then we should, in my opinion, regret our decision. That's what I really want, because you know what? Like I said, we chose a scheme that probably won't last in Indy over an all-pro player that loved Indy. And that's going to be tough for me until it's not. And today is not the day that it's not tough. So if you got a problem with it.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
That's what I feel. I don't care if you got a problem with it, because it was bullshit. So anyway, that's how I close. How do you want to close this out?
Again, so many optics, dude, that we're not privy to. You can be upset. I'm upset too, because I love Leonard. I got a full-size helmet signed with a COA of that man sitting on my desk. Yes, I got a signed jersey. I got a signed rookie card. I love that man. But when it comes down to it, we just don't know all the information, So, yeah, be hurt because you love the guy. You love watching him on the field. You love his character. You love his energy. Everything he does, there's nothing to hate about. Absolutely not. But now on the business side of things, there's a lot of other optics besides love. So just remember that before you go standing at the clock tower taking people out because you're so damn upset. Just remember that. That's all I'm asking.
No. Sammy, take us out of here.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast and Bill Show on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.